Welcome everybody to our
impromptu
stream.
Yeah,
Where
there
are
you
you,
go.
Peter?
Sorry.
No, we had you guys last week, and we promised that this week we would be showing you some current development and footage of the MMORPG.
Yep.
With all this talk of Apocalypse and testing that we've been doing for Apocalypse, that being a standalone arena mode, we wanted to give you guys a look at the MMORPG development and show you, even as early as it is, we're still several months away from the Alpha 1 of the MMORPG, right?
Mm-hmm.
That
Phase
second
2.
quarter,
Mm-hmm.
right? Phase 2 as we called it. But now it's just back to regular old Alpha 1. That we're going to show you a video here that's about, what, 30 minutes of gameplay. We have a, we're talking over it, so we're kind of describing things as we go. And we don't want to necessarily hit all those points before you see the video. So we'll just tell you that, just to set this up, this is our current state of the MMORPG. We took the Apocalypse level to show how translatable and easy it is.
How easy it is to just switch a game mode and kind of have what we've been working on.
Present, exactly.
Yeah. So again, it's all, the way we built it is really, flexible. And we kind of wanted to show you that flexibility and how that looks.
Yeah.
Also show you APOC from sort of a designer's perspective in terms of like why things were laid out the way they were and that kind of thing.
Right, and then the other thing to note, the combat that you'll see in this playthrough is not the combat that's the hybrid. We haven't had the opportunity yet to take everything we want to learn from APOC and make that hybrid system. That's something that we're still in the process of doing. So what you see in this combat is not indicative of what the hybrid combat system will be.
Yeah, it's sort of like the first baby steps toward that.
Exactly. So without further ado, we will toss you off to the gameplay footage, and then we'll be back to take questions and give answers afterwards.
Enjoy.
Welcome everybody to our pre-alpha playthrough.
Hi everybody.
Joined by
everyone.
Mr. Jeff Bard
That's me.
and Mr. Peter Pettigrew. I mean Peter Pepperone.
I like, yeah. Hi, everyone.
All right, we're running through this city. This is a nice area. Where are we at, Jeff?
Yeah, so hopefully this looks familiar to some people who have been playing our Actions of Creation Apocalypse product. This is actually kind of a test that we did where we pulled over all of the MMO stuff that we've been working on over to this map to kind of show you guys like how easy it is for us to swap between game modes kind of in our production process.
Right. And that's because our Alpha 1 map is still under construction. We are getting that ready for Alpha 1 that's coming up soon.
And it's also kind of cool to see this map from this perspective. We kind of built it with an MMO in mind, but this was kind of a cool way to see it from a new point of view.
I see we have a quest here that we're grabbing, discarding Fate's Hand.
Yeah, so right now we, the Empyrean and the Kalar have just entered into an alliance, and this quest is going to kind of run us through some of the agreements and obligations that are a part of that alliance. So we're going to help these guys out. We're going to go deliver a package to a town down the road by the name of Grimsale. So yeah.
Now, it's telling me not to break the seal, but can I break the seal but then like breathe on it to put the seal back on?
No, you can't do that.
I don't know.
Not yet. That mechanic has not been implemented. I don't know that it ever will.
Aw, that's unfortunate.
I like seeing all the items and the different skins in this level, though.
Oh yeah, I know. It's not too bad. We have our NPCs. So we have our questing here. That's pretty cool. Love it. I love this statue, honestly.
It's really cool.
Just kind of checking out the statue.
I don't know if this is in our quest path.
It's not.
Aw.
Okay.
Steven
Sad
likes
times.
to avoid the path. That's okay.
This is
It's okay.
a
we can survive this.
Now this area is intended to be a town stage.
It's a city, actually.
Is it a city?
Yep, city of Aileron. Yep, that's this is at level 5 right now. Yeah.
Do we have the there should be a panel somewhere that tells us that.
You're gonna want to go find a guard to go do that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, now is this going to be a treacherous path ahead of us? This
discarding
yeah,
Fate's Hand?
yeah. We have some monster packs in here, and there's a few things we're gonna have to do along this quest line that involve
found
killing
some
creatures.
Oh, there he goes.
They're cheering my arrival,
Back over here. Steven.
but I like it. All right, fine.
That's all right.
I apologize, friends. Jeff is telling me I must leave you.
Yeah, so I mean, you'll see that the monster density here is probably not what it would be in the actual MMO, because again, this is kind of more of a test for us, and just to see how well we can flop back and forth between things.
That jumped into work. That's okay.
Let me talk to these guards and see if they have.
Oh yeah.
This
That
is
should
oh, it
tell
is a city
you-
stage.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is city. Oh, I'm the mayor.
Well, I mean,
Or this
I
account
don't
you've
think
been
anybody
using.
elected you, but
You've
it's
been.
okay.
There's only 21 developer citizens. Oh, that's great. Yeah, so this is, guys, this is just a very early look at some of the Alpha 1 systems that we're putting in place. Obviously, as Jeff said, we're using the Apocalypse level to try to demonstrate to you just how convenient it is for us to really switch on the MMO game mode and put in these, these are some temporary class kits that we have on these characters. This is showing some of the node interface systems, the questing systems, the NPCs as they're present. We have not really built out any of the...
Steven, where are you?
I'm sorry, I fell a little bit behind. I'm looking at this
That's okay.
tower, honestly. I love that. From this perspective, the tower is just huge.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the cool things about this is that, like, I get to see this sort of as a contiguous, because I'm so used to popping into this map, like, wherever, and to kind of follow the storyline along this path is kind of really neat.
Yeah, 100%. I totally agree. But we just wanted to show you guys the development on the MMORPG front. And the last time you guys saw some of the Alpha 0 footage, right? Art hadn't really progressed.
First pack here soon.
Is this a dangerous?
Yep.
Oh, I
Yep.
think
There's-
you scared
Oh.
me and I shot
Okay,
you.
okay.
Come on.
I apologize.
What are you doing?
You told me we
Don't
were gonna
get
fight
off.
something, so I shot you. Now
fair.
I think the get out of my city. Okay, here we go. We got some little spider archers.
Yeah, also we've got a little bit of the hybrid system going on here. You'll see us using both tab-targeted and action-based skills.
Action
So far,
attacking.
so good.
There we go. All right, I'm swinging
Okay,
on this
see
guy.
some melee going on. Okay.
A little mage getting up in there with some staff attacks. I feel like Gandalf at Minas Tirith.
Actually,
God of the Citadel indeed, Peter Pettigrew.
kill spiders.
Oh,
Your
dear.
talent is wasted.
I know. This foe is not beyond any of us. I like the lasso.
It's actually
You know,
pretty
I
useful.
think I'm damaging you. I think
You are. We did not turn off.
I am
so,
sorry.
You have to be a
I'm
little bit
so-
careful.
I think
with those abilities.
I just threw you off into the wall, Jeff.
It's all right. This takes true teamwork.
I'm just gonna assume that was a mistake.
Guys, this is how we do things at Intrepid. You get to see this stuff live as it happens. And there's whatever happens, happens. Just go with the flow.
Exactly. Fix it in post.
Fix what posts.
I'm gonna go see if there's any monsters down this hill.
Good luck.
tell you that
Don't
they're
wander far. Oh, I'm sorry, Jeff.
You keep doing it. I'm gonna stop.
It was a wall. You were able to circumvent the wall.
This is always what we call.
No. This fire is friendly fire. Get it?
No.
So, yeah. So we're working on getting some action combat integrated with the tab-targeted systems.
I'll kite them back.
Obviously, this is extremely early in that regard. We just began really the action combat testing with Apocalypse, and as we are watching and collecting data from those systems, we'll begin integrating them into the tab targeting systems that are already present in the game. So take into account this is a pre-alpha look at the MMO stage of development, and Alpha 1 begins second quarter, I believe. I'm sorry, I apologize for that. That was my mistake. But, you are capable of handling some fireballs.
They're pretty beefy fireballs, actually.
just think about the damage spread I'm doing, right? Like I only do
Exactly.
you know,
That was
damage
like-
to you,
that was
but
like
like
600.
yeah, exactly. Peter, I like how you utilize rocks to like gain an advantage. If I had
I
it,
do love catfall.
if I had a nickel for every time in an MMO I tried to use elevation to my advantage, I would have like at least 8
Many
nickels.
nickels.
Well, yeah. Lots of nickels. Alright. Well, see, we went through that pretty easily.
Yeah, that wasn't so bad. Nobody died. I hope they weren't. They
now
were
we're-
just little tiny baby
Now
spiders.
we're jinxed.
Jeff, I wonder if these guys have a little...
No, it's not part of. It's not part of the routine.
Oh my god, they do!
What are you doing?
No, it's... Can we just... Do we have a poll? Can I buy a poll from
No,
them?
this stuff isn't ready for prime
I
time
need
yet.
the lure, though. Where do we get
don't
the
know why we're
nymph?
here.
We need the
We're
nymph
going to
bait.
continue on down
I'm
the road
just
without
gonna
you,
keep going.
Aw, that's not fun. Let me see if these people have any nymph bait.
I think my
They do
favorite
not-
farm's
they
over
do
here
not
anyway.
have nymph bait.
Why don't they talk to me? I am friend.
Steven, they're
Speak
such
friend
basic.
and sell bait. I bet you we could find some worms probably in the mushroom field.
It's possible.
It's possible, but I would say unlikely.
Oh,
What?
And I'm getting left behind. It's okay. I'll come back.
Where did you go?
Peter, did you find the bait?
I did not, sadly, no.
Jeff?
What?
I'm sure many people wanted to see us go fishing.
Okay, well, I mean, I guess we could maybe show them, but it's not ready yet.
Alright, well, we'll save that for when it's ready.
All right,
Well,
let's stick to the script.
Now, where are we? So okay. Just being honest, I may or may not have opened the scroll that we were to deliver.
You, come on.
Is the delivery up ahead?
You know
how much
it's
time?
fun because it's playing with Steven and Peter. They break as much as they possibly can. We have
But
these
that's what we're
plans.
supposed to do.
Well, that's right. Exactly.
It's like everybody, let's stick to the plan, let's stick to the script, so nothing goes wrong. And then no, it's like the first 5 minutes we
Are
can't do
these
it.
farmers being paid an honest day's wage?
Yep.
Because they're hard at work out here.
They are through taxation.
All right, very good. Just making sure. This is a beautiful farm, little farm village. I
Yeah,
wonder
this is the
what crops are
Fiona
they
Vale.
growing?
I don't know exactly.
Is
it
that
depends
corn?
on what season that is. I don't think it's corn.
Or as we would say, maize.
Would we say that?
Is that okay?
Is that a thing that we would do?
I think it might be. Oh, I see some danger perhaps up ahead. I'll try not to hit you this time, Jeff,
Okay.
but I make no promises.
I wouldn't hold you to him.
Not many hopes for this one. I did AoE too. Okay, we
Oh,
Jeff.
oh, Jeff.
I'm never taking for you guys again.
Why? We should have turned off the global PvP.
Well, I was supposed to. Okay. I really deserve it.
There you go. I blocked those little mycenas from you, providing cover for you. Let's see if I can
As
throw
you
some
can see,
fire.
people watching through, the action-based combat. There's some things we have to fix with the camera in terms of targeting and all that, but all that's coming pretty quick down the pipe here.
One thing about the camera, it's really cool switching, the camera in the level between the attack and this. It's just, you get to see such different perspectives in the level.
Oh yeah. I just love these little mushrooms. I know that you guys have seen these monsters before, and that's because our character and creature pipeline is obviously there's a lot of assets going through that pipeline for the MMO. I mean, literally hundreds and hundreds of different types of NPCs and monsters. But these guys have their animations all hooked up. They have their attacks hooked up from our previous testing, so they're kind of easy to drop spawners in for these for the purposes of actual testing.
Yeah, it's pretty set and forget, which is nice, especially when we're doing prototypes. We don't try to get too complex or put too many new things that will break that we're not prepared for. So
Also, they just look so fluffy. Their caps.
they do. They've got a lot of character for not having faces.
It saddens me when they die and their cap deflates.
Yeah.
How else are you gonna know?
Well, Yeah, I guess that's true. But it feels like their soul, like their mushroom, their fungus soul is like leaving their bodies.
Do funguses have souls?
I like to think so.
It's a deep dive discussion.
All right, I think we're done here.
I don't know. I
statue
still got a little dude back here. I think.
Peter,
I'll
get back
check.
here.
I'll check out what's ahead. It's all right.
No, get
All
back
right.
here.
Oh, there's okay. That's perfect.
I got him. I think I got him. Down, you errant mushroom! I will defeat you. Oh, it deflated, so it's dead. I also like how we have no cooldown on the teleport
Isn't it nice?
right now. I like that little dev teleport. This
Little
is a
something to play
beautiful vista over the human village area up ahead.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. We've got time of day turned on right now.
What is this caravan?
Oh, that might be an area
Ooh,
quest.
there's an area quest. We're almost there. They need help, Jeff.
Nah, let's keep going.
Yeah, I think they're okay.
Stick to the script.
Some Samaritan.
They'll be there another day.
Very
I'm
well.
gonna try and see where this guy is. I don't really know where he is in the town.
I'm teleporting up to you guys.
He's right over kind of by the statue.
I'm running back to you, Jeff. I don't trust
Okay.
myself.
I will lead you to success.
Peter, your feet are glowy.
He's got them
That is
like permanently
careful.
turned on. All right, here he is. He's over here.
Oh, God,
Marilyn-
I hope he
okay.
doesn't. I hope he doesn't notice the seal.
Oh, Steven.
So I'm to be the one to break the seal, and no one else. Okay.
Steven, you should do our voiceover.
I know, right?
It's so dramatic.
I don't know. I have to check with management.
So in any case, for those of you who are reading along at home, or maybe not reading along at home, we have to intervene with the others. They're apparently going to attack the human city up north, and we have to do a couple of things in order to make sure that that attack gets disrupted. So
Jeff,
the
if
first
I-
thing we're going to... What?
If I told you I didn't read the entirety of that quest, would it upset you?
It would hurt my soul. Every time somebody tells me that, I lose a piece of it. Eventually there won't be any left.
I'm sorry. I read the whole thing. It was beautiful. I love this statue. Look at all these people are cheering our arrival again. Do they have anything for sale?
They might, actually.
They could.
Do we have the shop set up?
Oh, they should be. But we have things to do.
We have things to do, places to go.
I
Otherwise,
noticed
this
a
will
little
be
bit.
A
I noticed.
2-hour-long video.
Yeah, I noticed that our player movement. It looks like the replication's a little off on that. Obviously, it's
Yeah,
PreAlpha, but-
it's there's some stuff we've got to tune on that. It's the tick rate of your friends are lower in order to get a ton of people on the server, but
Alright.
it's particularly bad right now. We'll be looking at that and tuning that.
All right. Welcome to early pre-alpha look, guys. As usual, you get to see
Yeah.
everything in its entirety.
It'll look even cooler once you guys get your hands on it.
I also noticed, Jeff, that with the APOC, putting the MMO build on the APOC level, we still have some of the chests and weapons and whatnot spawning in the world.
Yeah, it would have taken me a whole crap ton of time to get rid of them all, so I kind of hid the most apparent
Hey, it's
ones.
free
and got
loot
rid of
out
those.
in the wild.
That's true.
God, I love the views.
Did we lose
Yeah.
Steven again?
No, I'm just admiring the view.
He's back there.
That castle.
Once we get to the top of this hill, it gets even cooler.
I know a mayor of a local city in this area. See if I can put a good word in for lordship over that castle. See if
You're talking about yourself, aren't you?
Yes. I apologize.
Steven.
I'm trying to get a good view of the castle.
We're waiting for you.
I just want to literally fly the dragon out of
Oh.
that castle. Don't wait for me. I have teleport. Very
I guess that's true.
powerful. Fast.
I just want to make sure that, we all get there safely.
Ever
don't have
the
a resume.
vigilant tank. Hey, rude. I'm your mayor. Sworn fealty to me.
I think we're getting close to the next update on this quest, so that we're going to get to another fight here in just a bit.
I'm sorry, I'm being
But
drawn
yeah,
yet
actually,
again.
no, it's all right.
to
The
the
top
castle.
of this hill is really neat. I'm a big fan of it.
I've never quite played an MMO that has the views and just environmental amazingness that Ashes is showing so early in development.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, our
crazy.
environment team is nuts. I mean, they're hard at work right now, just doing even more crazy things. They keep pushing this engine as far as it'll go, and then pushing it further.
It will be mine one day.
I don't know if that's
I
fair.
think we have some dangers up ahead. Ah.
Oh god, there's that. Spider
Oh, there's a
demon up
spider
there.
demon.
Oh,
We should engage it.
I don't know.
Oh, he's losing.
Weird.
Don't you have it set up so that if doesn't he like go to a lair or something?
No, that's part of the quest. Yeah, basically chasing him off. He's gonna go and
If I catch him.
set up over there. No, we don't want to catch him because if you catch him, then
have to fight him.
the city will fall. So
No!
we can't let that happen. Technically, they're not your citizens. They're your alliance's citizens.
Well, my citizens, his citizens.
these guys are pretty tough.
Yeah, they're a step up from the spiders. Yeah, so we're still looking for, all of the stuff that you'd be seeing from APOC. A lot of it will translate over to the MMO. So when you see Steven, knocking his back over the
Oh,
cliff,
that's a big one.
all that kind
I
of
apologize.
stuff will be part of it. I'm so used to it now, I don't even see it.
This is why I had to set the cap all the way.
I should
It's
give
like an
you some
abusive
type of
relationship.
like fire immunity skin or something.
Right. That guy's left.
Hey, you charged me that.
Did I? My apologies.
Okay, I think that did it for that.
Cool. Now we're gonna follow this path north a little bit, and we'll make our way across the river.
So one of the really cool things. Oh, there's nothing here. That's sad. I was hoping-
Well, that's because the spider demon took it.
Unbelievable.
What did
He
he
has
run
no
off with?
thumbs.
I don't know.
He has
No, he
treasures.
doesn't have thumbs.
One of the
Look at
cool
all that.
things about about the upcoming Alpha 1 is really getting to see the node system shine. I'm excited the number of nodes that we will have on the Alpha 1 map, not this map, the Alpha 1 map, that we'll be able to see kind of player agency at work. I know Alpha 0 we had, I believe it was 4 nodes, 3 or 4 nodes, that could develop up to stage 3, but we're going to have a good number more in Alpha 1 that are going to have some nice in-depth kind of quest lines and narratives and systems available, and I think a look at the in-node housing. It's going to be pretty exciting.
Yeah, I'm actually super stoked. We're gonna have a really nice web of nodes, so we should see some really interesting interdependencies there. It would be cool to have a couple different servers running at the same time. I'm not sure if that'll end up happening, but to kind of see how things evolve differently on the different servers, because we really need to test these systems. They're very, very complex, and the only way to really test them is at scale. So it's going to be pretty exciting to see what happens there. Steven, where are you going?
I was just looking at this crystal
Dude, don't go
area,
there.
but I like the heart. It draws me
I
near.
know it's really cool. I love that area. But if we delay, the city will fall.
All right. I guess I just one little look, and then I'll. it is like it's pulsating. It wants me to come help it. I feel like
You're
there's
listening to
something
the
there.
corruption. You should stop listening to the corruption.
I can't do it. All right, I'm on my way. Oh dear. I love the teleport.
What did you do?
When there's no cooldown on the teleport, I just spam it and go flying.
All right, so I think we got to get up to the castle, and then we'll get our next updates, and then we'll have our final fights.
You know, one thing that continues to amaze me, you know, as our amazing team continues in development, is really just seeing the speed at which we're able to get these systems kind of up and running. And I think Alpha 1 is really going to be a very pleasant shock to everyone in the community. Just how much of the game is present and available for testing after such a short period of time. I mean, I'll admit I'm a fan of some other MMO projects, but it's always tough for me to kind of sit by as 4, 5, 6 years go by from their Kickstarter, and I'm rooting for them. But at the same time, it's just like I cannot believe the speed at which we are able to get something out in the player's hands.
Yeah, I mean it's definitely a new experience for me, right? Like I'm very used to long development times and sort of, you know, hiding in the hole until everything is finished. So this is definitely an unusual but very refreshing experience for me. You know, it's been cool to see people's reactions in real time. You know, allows us to pivot really quickly when we need to. And, you know, it's also kind of neat because not only have we built a lot of stuff in a really short period of time, but we've also have pretty robust systems. Like, I was actually pretty surprised that we were able to bring as much stuff over to this APOC level as we did. You know, I knew in theory that it was easy, but to actually see it happen is pretty neat.
Oh yeah, I mean the greatest thing about the Apocalypse standalone is that, you know, we get players in the world. Oh, what do we have up here?
Oh, yes.
Looks like an
Looks like we
ambush.
need to defeat. This is the group that's in my
My God.
Thankfully, we
I'll
split
stop
up
them.
in this party. Oh, you got it. I'll let you take it.
Not like this.
No, wait.
Not like the backup. Got my ice pants on.
Nice pick.
No, I have that.
No, that's my actual weapon. Oh wait, that was Joe. Yeah, I got one of them. When in doubt, just count.
On this rack.
Speed her away.
There's still a little guy left.
I love the pushback. Such a major damage dealer. Bring him down, Jaffas. There we go. Well, guys, I hope that you enjoyed this little preview of the Alpha 1 progress, our pre-alpha look at the MMORPG development. We will have a lot more going forward towards that Alpha 1 build, and we cannot wait to show you guys and see you in game. Take care, everybody.
Yes.
Take care,
Take care.
everyone.
All right, guys, that was a very early look at
Yeah.
what's going to be coming soon for Alpha 1.
Hope you guys liked it.
Yes. Now, key points to remember is that obviously UI there is incomplete. That's why you didn't see some character health bars. Very placeholder.
Also, we're cheating.
Cheating? No. Okay, maybe a little bit. But additionally, I saw some comments with regards to FPS, right? And that zone is not optimized for the MMO gameplay, which is why you saw perhaps some FPS issues there. But as we approach Alpha 1, that optimization pass gets done. You know, it'll be in the Alpha 1 world.
Same thing as we're doing for Apocalypse,
yes,
so it's the same
absolutely.
process.
Yeah, it's actually really interesting to see. I mean, you know, as we show you guys, whoops, I probably turned that up. As we show you guys development and we move forward with, you know, creating these maps and these worlds, you get to see, you know, Peter, myself, Jeff, we're standing behind, we're looking at these FPS from 1 month to the next. It can go from 20 up to 90, right, in a matter of literally a few days.
Yeah.
And that's because, you know, the way the optimization works for us is, you know, you do feature development, and then when you're polishing, you
And
do
you're happy with what you've got.
Exactly. Then you optimize, and that's something that's very important, you know, to keep in mind when you see FPS that might look low for early looks like this, pre-alpha looks at this. It's because that optimization pass has yet to be done, particularly. Yeah. So we can take some questions. We'll kind of do a little extended Q&A. I know sometimes Q&A for us can be a little bit short because we have a lot of stuff to talk about. But since this was an impromptu stream, let us spend some more time answering questions, if I can find the question channel.
It's there somewhere.
It should be there somewhere. Let's see here. Where is it? I don't see. Oh, live stream
look at,
questions. I found it.
Oh.
Okay, let's scroll up to near the top. First question from Guildheart. Economically, will the marketplace have minimum and maximums? If so, what are your thoughts on auction houses? So we talked a little bit about the auction house system and how that works. Those are confined to economic node types.
Yep.
Right, and then if a node reaches a metropolis stage, it will connect all of the other nodes, economic auction houses, as a part of its central hub. Right.
Right.
And with regards to minimums and maximums, you know, we don't really want to kind of put a regulation, so to speak, on the player's ability to auction off items and whatnot. You know, what we do want to give, however, is metrics so that players can see what the average pricing has been for a period of time, and that way you can determine whether or not price is either too high or too low.
Yeah. But again, we want the marketplace, the auction house, the market in general to be its own game, to have its own like rule system and have people be able to play those markets and shunt, you know, goods from one place to another, because not all markets are created equal, and different markets will want different things. So it's a big part. That part is a big part of our economic model for this game.
Another question from Mr. Ofney or M. Rofney. Can we keep friendly fire? So we don't want to keep friendly fire, no. However, you know, the flagging system does allow for players to initiate combat with other players. But what you didn't see in this playthrough was a system that will be in place, which is basically an alliance flag system. So, you know, if you're a part of a guild, if you're in a party, if you're in a raid, if you're a member of a family, let's say, the opportunity to participate in those flagging fights will be disabled. You won't be able to have AoEs that impact each other.
You won't. It would do some interesting things for like the mass combat, but most of those things would probably be negative.
Right. Yeah. So. Absolutely. That's a key point. You know, a lot of our combat systems and the way that PvP interacts in the world is open world. So people get to participate in either, you know, castle sieges, node sieges, caravans, guild wars, stuff like that. And we want to make sure that we're not hindering certain classes that are predominantly AoE from being able to actually
use their stuff,
perform.
right.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Question from Guildheart again. You mentioned potion launchers last time, and we saw an iteration of it in testing. Will we be able to switch out ammo or potions types for fire explosions, ice explosions, poisons? Yeah. So part of part of what we have planned in Apocalypse, at least later on, as we implement new features for the MMO, and if it translates over into Apocalypse, would be to have different explosive types that are present.
And that's actually part of the potion launcher weapon right now. It's got an alt fire that does an ice potion. So we'll, as we grow that weapon, it will also get other types.
And that kind of plays into the augment system in a way, right? You have a basic functionality that's present on either a quote-unquote weapon in Apocalypse or perhaps a skill that would be in the MMORPG. And as you apply these augments, you can have an elemental typed augment that could be either fire or different elements that you might want to see, or other effects that would happen for specifically AoEs. Waypock asks, Intrepid, why do all the male costumes look feminine? I don't think they look feminine. Look at all the other collars that flare up. Do we have any more mainly costumes? So it's important to note that the cosmetics and our costumes that you're seeing now are related to our production schedule, and we really started working on the Kalar, the human, the Aelin, the Empyrean, the Pyrian, the Elvish kind of armors. Now,
so you get a lot of those swoopy curves and
right. I'm sure there's a particular content creator among you who might like to hear the term feminine applied to those male cosmetics, but really it's just the elegance that the elves have, or the females have. Excuse me, not females. The humans have. With relationship to the armors that are present currently in the game. That elegance can sometimes be maybe misconstrued. Question from Jay Kook. Oops. You say the map will be 480 squared kilometers. That is very large. I expect it to take a long time to put in enough content in it to prevent certain areas from being dead with nothing to do. Will you change the areas in the world as you update the game? So to answer that last part of the question, yes, areas will change as we release updates. Obviously, that is something that's important to us. We want to make sure that we provide in the map, in the world itself, a visual change with these updates that relate to either content we're introducing and whatnot. But a lot of it has to do with how nodes are built, right? So 480 square kilometers is a lot of space. It is definitely a lot of space. But there's a lot of nodes and opportunities in that wilderness for players to kind of go out and discover new story arcs, right? To discover new content that's present there. And the way that our content gets revealed is through building up those nodes. So that's a mixture of both curated and procedural content, right? You want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I mean, it's for, to me, I was more worried that people would say that that's small. It is definitely large, but it's not so large that we can't fill it with content.
Yes.
We are all MMO creators here, and we know how to fill the world with things that are meaningful and that people can engage in. The node system takes care of a lot of that, but also we need there to be enough space for there to be variation among these different types of nodes, and also to make travel kind of this has been said before, but like meaningful in terms of where resources are, which cities pop up on which servers, and like how the world develops. If we have a very small constrained space, then the number of variations that we have there are pretty constrained too. So again, not too worried about filling that space with content. It's a very doable space, so I wouldn't worry about that.
Next question from Katai. Intrepid, how much better will the FPS get at the MMO testing? Because in the VR right now, the FPS is a little hard to deal with. So there's a couple of things that have to do with the current testing of Apocalypse. Right now, we still have some optimization passes that were being done yesterday, the day before, that should be present in this weekend's build. And it looks very good. For example, I think on one of our low-spec machines, we were seeing up to 90 FPS, particularly in the village and city areas with some of the changes that we've recently made. Additionally, the scalability settings, setting from epic to high, medium, and low, those were not those were not present in previous tests. We only allowed you to bring the scalability down to, I believe it was a high medium. We've actually enabled those settings now, moving forward in the next build, probably this weekend, to where you can actually scale settings down to a low setting spec. And that will help a lot with lower end machines. So FPS is obviously, I mean, the graphical fidelity that's present in Ashes of Creation is stunning. It is a beautiful game to play, and I'm a big fan of the aesthetics of a world. I believe it aids in the immersion of feeling like you're a part of something in that world. But at the same time, we do want to make sure that a large portion of the community gets to play this. So Unreal's really good at having those tools to scale downward to accommodate lower spec machines. Okay, question. Whoops. Okay, that's that. let's go down to Kropek. Hey guys, great job. Thanks, Kropek. My question is, when we see mounts, not those from the BR mode, but like proper mounts on ground, the mounts will probably be part of the Apocalypse Castle Siege update.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah, where we'll be implementing those ground mounts. And the idea behind the ground mounts, at least from a BR perspective, the ground mounts will act as a utility item that you can summon the mount, and your hitbox becomes that of the entire mount and yourself. And upon taking damage, will decrease the amount of time that you have available for that mount to be present. It can kind of get you across the map quickly for whatever events might be on the map or whatever. It can also be used in the castle sieges, and then obviously you know the use in the MMORPG. Agilos. I didn't even think about that. So Agilos asks, are you trying to get rid of us with that discarding Fate's Hand quest name? I think because their guild name is Fate's Hand.
There you go. All
Yes.
according to plan.
Please leave.
No,
Yeah.
Agilos. But I already had your elf ears made.
There you go.
No, just- Oh, that's great.
So good.
Okay. Okay, let's see. Question from, let's scroll. I don't know if we'll get through all these, but let's scroll down a little bit and grab somebody out of the middle of the pack. We will answer a question from GreenBuddy831. Is questing going to be part of the experience, or are we going to face roll through it to get to the end game content?
There should be no face rolling.
Yes.
Should be no face rolling.
No face rolling.
Questing will definitely be a part of it. Questing will affect you whether or not you participate in the quest system. So it's probably a good idea to take part in it so you can have your voice known.
Right. Also, our philosophy on endgame.
There is no end game.
That's right. Yes.
The game is the game.
The game is the game. Right. The idea behind how the node system interacts with the world and questing and all the features that are present for you to participate in is that you really don't reach necessarily an end game. What you reach is the ability to continue to mold the world in different ways and experience different things.
And continue to like exert your power and yourself in the world.
Absolutely, yeah. Okay, question from Penny. Is there a more up-to-date timeline on Alpha 1 Phase 2? Alpha 2 and beyond the moment. As we approach Alpha 1, we will update our timeline probably at our next event, which we will announce soon. And you will see an update to the timeline then. Okay, question from Truth Eternal. What is a trade agreement and how many can you have?
Oh.
Talking about the trade agreements between the nodes.
Right. I don't know if I can tell you how many you can have. I don't think there's a limit to it right now. I mean, obviously, we'll have to put some controls into it. We haven't
Right.
quite gotten that
I
point
believe
yet.
we originally spoke about how trade agreements, the limits will be determined by first stage. So depending on what stage of development the node is, grants an additional trade agreement potential.
Right.
And then additionally, should the direction of the citizens and the mayor dictate that certain building types get built up, you can augment that
You
cap
get extra
and get
slots
additional
there.
slots.
Yeah.
Yes.
But in any case, trade agreements are agreements between one node and another node. Basically, they exchange goods, and both parties profit from it.
Right, and the abilities and accessibilities of the citizens within those nodes to certain items and or crafting materials or crafting times or blueprints that you might have or available quests or rewards, all of those get influenced by the types of trade agreements you have, the culture of the other node that you have the trade agreement with, and then additionally, those trade agreements spawn regular intervals of NPC caravans that the citizens are responsible for ensuring the safe delivery of goods as a part of that agreement, and those are timed and declared to the citizens, and it's
also
responsibility.
like a nice lever for a mayor if they want to lower their taxes, if they get really aggressive in trade agreements, then they can kind of have that flexibility to do that.
Absolutely. In addition to granting additional funding for the node itself, so that they have more funding to work with in development. Okay, next question. Can a landlocked node have access to shipbuilding? Broader question, will it be? So nodes don't exactly have quote-unquote access to shipbuilding. What they do, however, is they can connect with docks that are available for building on the coastline, right? Depending on the proximity of that node to the coast determines whether or not they're hooks of NPC development or
trade agreements across the ocean.
Across the ocean, exactly. And then those docks can grant specific capabilities and or systems present for players who wish to shipbuild and explore the ocean.
But yeah, you're not locked out of shipbuilding if you. I mean, you have to have water to launch the ship, but you can build the ship kind of wherever.
benefits.
Do you though? What about the Flying Dutchman? No. Okay. We'll leave that one off. Okay. All right. Next question. Question from. Will there be UI for Apocalypse? Yes, there will be UI for Apocalypse. That was an easy one. That was from Angel. Thank you, Angel. Okay, from Dexta. How much importance do you give to player interaction, and can you give us an example of interaction systems that you are proud of? Player interactions.
Okay, so we give a lot of importance to that. We think that obviously community is one of our pillars, and we want to give people lots of ways to interact and ways that are kind of mechanically meaningful, not just like you guys talk to each other and have some role-playing session, right? But so our crafting system is kind of built around that. There's interdependencies between different types of crafters. They have to work together in order to really build some of the more high-end stuff. There are our kind of social areas. Social areas can give you mechanical benefits if you spend time in them. They give you mechanical benefits if you interact with the different systems that are involved there, like playing cards or playing dart games or things like that.
And the business system, right? Like the way that players can create these taverns and or other locations.
Or just open up your own shop, right? Like
exactly.
Those are all things that you can do, and those are all like mechanically meaningful things that you are doing for yourself.
Right, absolutely. Okay, question from Katai. In some MMOs, the movement feels so sharp that I get a headache after a few hours. Will the movement get smoother than what it already is? Absolutely.
I assume he's talking about animation.
I don't know if animation or player replication. Both of those are going to get smoother.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Technically, yeah. So as we continue forward with animations, basically, just so you guys are aware, the way that we generally approach animation is, here we have these list of animations that need to get done. We have spell effects, we have weapon attacks, we have emotes, we have movement, we have a whole bunch of animations. Now, there's a philosophy behind how you approach that type of production, right? You go through and you do a first pass. You go through and you do a second pass. You do a third pass and a fourth pass, right? And you're continually polishing these things.
Yeah.
So right now, it's not like you take, okay, I'm going to take my weapon attack and I'm going to take that to its polished end before I get to the next animation task.
We would still be on the sword.
We would still be on, exactly. So the idea behind how animation and even art in general, everything, this is all an iterative process. Not iterative in the sense that, we produce a final product and say, okay, what do we need to change about it? But iterative in the sense that we go through those first, second, third, fourth passes until we get to the polished stage, and when that gets.
And part of that is technology too. Like we are still working on our sort of animation engine that continues to get better, and all of these things have a lot of parts to it that you don't necessarily see at the user end.
Yes.
But yeah, so as we get more hooks, as we get more code support, as we get all this stuff, all these things kind of get smoothed out.
And the great thing about Intrepid here is that we have an amazing animation team.
It's true.
I mean, they are truly
They're really good.
Very talented individuals. The games that they've worked on previously that many of you guys have played are top-notch animation, and Ashes of Creation will have some of the best animations that you've ever seen in an MMO.
Yeah.
So that is something that is without a doubt. And then the last thing there is a player replication. That's basically when you're moving and you tell the server you're moving, and the server tells another player that person's moving, and
Game of telephone.
Exactly, and you get to the server. You kind of get these interpolations on, okay, is he going to move here? And if you take a quick turn, the server has to adjust that kind of thing. Those things are always also being worked on in progress as well. And MMO is a very specific beast of that replication.
There's a lot of push-pull there, right? The more data you send, the kind of less things you can do.
Right.
The slower things get. So we have to be really efficient about about all those calls.
And we also want to have varying states to accommodate the number of players we intend to have on screen that you're having to see replication for, right? And if necessary, as these battles might reach 500 plus players around a castle, we might need to call some of those players that you're seeing.
And also, I think this is just a part of the process, right? You might notice that other videos didn't actually show that kind of a problem.
Right.
Well, that's because we continue to kind of, that push-pull really does happen. So we figure out some things, some optimizations we can do, we bump up the tick rate. We break some stuff, we add a lot of complexity to it, that tick rate goes down. So it's kind of like this peaks and troughs kind of thing as we move forward. We get better at one thing, now we have to adjust something to catch up to that. So that's why you see that.
Yes. Okay. A question from Mizu. Will we be able to use fishing nets?
That should be part of it, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep, off a ship.
Yes. Fishing nets off the ship, or just like standing out in your ankle-high water and throwing it and catch little guppies that you can go fishing with.
Yeah.
Right? As bait.
Yep. Do guppies get caught by nets?
Oh,
Depends on the net.
It depends on I don't know.
They're really small.
Really small. That's
basically just a fishing
tarp?
blanket.
Yeah, it's
what
like
if
throwing
it's
a
a
tarp
magical
out there.
net?
Okay,
Thank you.
well, there you go.
See? Okay.
Can fix everything with that.
Confirmed magical net.
Guppy,
Oh,
magical
gosh.
guppy net.
Hey, leave the guppies alone.
Well,
Okay.
we wouldn't be netting them. Oh yeah.
Stop it. Okay. Next question. Do you plan on making every NPC approachable from a personality standpoint?
Yeah, actually, all of our NPCs are very charismatic.
Very charismatic. They're very approachable.
They're very.
Yeah.
Never feel bad about approaching their NPCs. That's awesome. But no, it's probably not. I would like to obviously have some kind of response for every NPC, but that is a lot of work. And so our focus will be on making our important quest-giving NPCs the most gregarious kind of people.
Yeah.
And then we'll go down from there. If we get a chance to get to all the NPCs and give everybody kind of a reaction state, well, I'd love to do that. But that'll depend on time.
Harami asks, could you please change the color of the names for enemies so they don't seem like players? Yes, they will be different colors, but again, our UI that you just saw is placeholder and incomplete.
Not finished.
So,
Yes.
yes.
All that stuff will evolve.
Yes. Okay. Question from Cheese. How in-depth will the stock market system be? Fairly in-depth.
That's a good answer.
Yes, fairly in-depth. Okay, so I mean, we've talked about this before, and there's great wikis out there to kind of go over the stock market, but the way it works is you have events that are in the world, right, and then you have organizations that hold stock, and the way those organizations react and or perform or exist in the world with relation to specific events that create performance indicators for those organizations determines the stock's rise or fall. Additionally, you have a cap to the amount of shares that are available within a particular stock, and that cap can be increased or decreased by the amount of assets that particular organization holds. The assets can be in relation to particular gear, it could be in relation to a guild hall, relation to a node development and specific center buildings. And basically, as you as the player are kind of participating over the lifespan of a said organization in relation to those events and or assets, determines the dividends that you're paid on stock you may hold, or the ability for you to sell and recapitalize. So it's a fairly in-depth system. It's part of what we've described as these systems. Sorry. Getting giggles there for a second. Part of what we've described as these systems, obviously, is our desire for these paths of progression and or gameplay to be viable within their realm. So the stock market exists within an economic area of the game. the crafting tree is not the only thing that can participate in this economic area. If you are an intelligent investor and shareholder, or an individual who follows these stocks, you can perform very well in the economic aspect of the game.
And it also, I think, it adds a really cool social dimension to the guild system in that it causes a different kind of conflicts, right, between players and between guilds, and kind of changes the relationship. Not only is it just, a group of people who try to succeed at something in the game, but now it's also, other people have stake in your guild.
Is it a bit more measurable?
Yeah.
Mephisto asks, is the monster difficulty based on level/zone, or does it scale with your levels? So monsters don't scale with your level. However, zones do exist, and they scale with the level of the nodes.
Right, and that's scaling up and down.
Right, correct. So basically, as these spawners exist throughout the world for NPCs to exist, each zone of influence, let's say, has a predetermined denomination of monster levels, types, and rewards, right? And those tables adjust to the development of the surrounding area, which is through the node system. So if an area is in the wilderness and it is in the near the starting zones, you will see, perhaps a spread of monster levels between, 25% is 1 through 5, 25% is 6 through 8, and so on and so forth. When the node advances to the next stage, the lower ends might get smaller and the higher ends might get bigger. If it advances enough, you may add a new denomination of levels that are present. And that's how the world kind of moves around what the players are doing. Because those deep, dark enemies are drawn to the development of civilization.
And it's also, we're doing it smartly too. It's not just with percentages and kind of like buckets, right? We have a sense of where the roads are. We have a sense of, what is close to a city, what's far away from a city. So like those kind of gradations of levels kind of exist within that schema. So, when you're walking on the road is a relatively safer place. When you're really close to the walls of the city, it's a relatively safer place. We want low-level people to be able to participate in this stuff, and they need a way to get from point A to point B without getting blicked immediately. So, that's part of it too.
Yes, absolutely. Okay. I think we have time for one more question, so we'll try to find a big one. Let us see who has a good question. Oh no, I think we had a forum thread maybe.
Well,
whoopsies. We'll get more forum questions next time. All right, so a question from let's do a question from
from who?
From who? Who shall it be? Let's do
Let Jeff pick.
Jeff, you pick.
Oh God.
Boom.
He just delegated.
Thank you, Peter. Well done.
Let me find the most offensive name
Jeff,
I can.
it's taking forever. Find this
I'm
question.
looking for it. Let's see.
The most egregious name possible.
I'm
We could've
looking for it
answered-
right
we could've
now.
answered 5 other questions this time.
Hey. Let's see.
Oh no. While you're finding your question, let's answer this one. How in depth will the stock market be? Oh. I'm so sorry. I don't know. Where'd that go?
Since trading, okay, I'm just gonna pick one random.
Okay, go.
This is from Xandor. Since trading between people is allowed, how will you deal with gold sellers, bots? There's no MMO out there that gold sellers haven't flooded it, distorted its
We've
economy.
answered this question 100 times.
have.
Reiterate.
Okay, so basically we have some really cool technology behind sort of our bot detection and seller detection in terms of that. Because it's a subscription-based game and because we have really good fraud detection, there's kind of a big barrier to entry to kind of the spam of the gold sellers. Obviously people will get beyond that, but in that case we have behavioral metrics that we keep track of. When somebody's acting in the manner of a gold seller, we detect them, we remove them from the game. So it's a lot of really active, really quick. It's like real-time stuff. So the moment a gold seller opens their mouth, we will see them and do something.
Okay, here's a good one. Are there going to be trade hazards? such as the Kraken at sea.
Kraken, that's a arcade Kraken, right?
Well, yeah.
Okay.
There's other Krakens though, but yes, there was. He wasn't necessarily in Arcade. I don't think he was necessarily unless you weren't paying attention, which did happen to me. I think the first time. Funny story, real quick. We had like 20 packs on a boat, and it was like the very first week. It was probably the first ever merchant ship that was filled with packs in that game, and we managed to get it, and we were like taking it to the center island. And I don't think I even knew the Kraken existed or something. And we were just driving, and this tentacle comes out of the water and just slams the merchant ship, and it breaks in half. And all the packs fell beneath the Kraken, and we spent like 3 hours, my guild, trying to get those back. But every time we got close to one, the Kraken would come kill us. It was great. It was fun.
Sounds awesome.
But those types of interactions are awesome.
Yes, they are.
And those hazards can create really fun, fluid, dynamic events that stick in your memory, like I just recited, right?
Mm-hmm.
So yes, there will be hazards. They won't necessarily evolve around player-driven caravans as much. They may, but they will be present in, for example, the trade agreements. The trade agreements will spawn these NPC caravans that go between the nodes, and it'll be on the players to participate and defend those specific things. There still will be some
And
hazards.
also, we have the idea of bandits, and then we also have just node events in general. And node events in general can affect things like caravans, and that may mean that Sorrow's Hunger comes out of his thing, and he's like, you know what, I don't like caravans today, and I'm gonna go attack as many of them as I can until somebody stops me. So that's kind of the idea there. So yes, there will be things along those lines.
Mm-hmm. Well, guys, that is all we have for you today. We hope that you enjoyed a early look at what Alpha 1 and the MMORPG development is currently at. We look forward. We will be announcing the next stream. Probably we'll do another stream in about a couple of weeks, or maybe 3 weeks, I would say, right after the
first,
holidays. Yeah. Just to catch you guys up to date and whatnot. We appreciate you guys for following
So much.
and staying tuned for what's to come. And we cannot wait to see you in game. Everybody have a great day.
Have a good one.